Okay, done, ma'am. Okay, students, so today we will study about how important for other European countries were moved towards the Italian unification. Like we will study about how the other countries participated in the unification of Italy. So, as we know that unification of Italy between 1848 and 1871 was one of the most significant events in the 19th century Europe. Obviously, you know that in 1848 that unification purpose was started, but still it was not achieved in 1848. But at the end of 1871, that significant event was achieved. It did not only affect the Italian states, but it also had a major impact on the great powers of Europe like Austria, France, Persia, and Britain. Obviously, we discussed in our previous class that the unification was not only impacted the Italian state, but it also has a great impact on Austria, France, Persia, and other European countries. Basically, this unification has totally changed the balance of power. Before the unification, the power was only belonged to the monarchs. It was only belonged to the kings. But after that unification, people also got some rights. It also weakened the old empires of the monarchs or kings, and it also encouraged the rise of the new national states. Okay, Amar, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question?
Ma'am, it's also clear to me.
Okay, so can I ask a question?
Sure, ma'am.
Italian unification affected which countries, which states, which European powers were affected by the Italian unification? Which European powers were affected by this unification, Salim? Salim
Wait,
Bitari?
ma'am, let me think. It was
I to
like Europe,
Okay. I- Uh, it was Europe, but
Austria,
very good,
Russia,
very good,
Britain,
very good.
and
So
last one was like, I guess, France.
yes. So basically,
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
these four major powers were affected by this unification. So we will study one by one how these states, how these countries were affected by that unification. By that unification. Okay. First of all, we will study about Austria. As you know that at that time Austria was the world power. It was the great power. But after that unification, the Austria was proved like a loser. How it proves like a loser, we will study in this topic here. Austria was the country most affected by this unification. Before 1848, Austria dominated much of the northern and central Italy, and it was directly ruling Lombardy and Venetia, and it was influencing states like Modena, Parma, and Tuscany. As I told you, Austria was a world power, and it was ruling it was ruling almost all the states of the Italy. But however, clever diplomacy and the wars of 1859 to 1866 seriously weakened Austrian control. So, due to that wars and different effects of the unification, Austria lose its power, and it proves like a loser. In 1859, after Austria defeat by France and Piedmont, Austria lost Lombardy. Or as I told you, Austria has a control over Lombardy and Venetia, but after 1859 war, Australia lost his power on Lombardy. In 1866, during the Austro-Persian War, Austria was again defeated, this time by Persia and Italy, and had to surrender Venetia. So in 1859, Austria was has to left Lombardy, and in 186 after the 1866 war, Austria has to surrender Venetia as well. In 1871, Austria had lost all its Italian territories, making the end of Austrian dominance in Italy and a major decline in its power in Europe. So, as I told you, due to that wars, due to these three major wars, Austria lost all his power, and Austria lost. There is no student.
I think they have some internet problem. Wait, let me drag them.
Okay.
Miss Amari is there, so continue with him.
Okay. Amara, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, uh, I was teaching you about how the Austria has lost its power from the Italy. So in 1859, Austria lost Lombardy state during the war. In 1866, Austria also has to surrender from the Venetia until the 1871. Austria had lost all its Italian territories, and due to that, its power in the Italy was completely lost. So this was the most important outcomes of the Italian unification, because due to that unification, Austria has lost all his power in the Europe. Next, we will study about France, how France affected by the Italian unification. France under Napoleon III played a double role in Italian unification, like it has a double role during the unification process. At first, France supported Piedmont to weaken Austria, its tradition rival. At the start, the France was in support of the Piedmont Italy unification, but later it was against. It helped the Piedmont to weaken the Austria. The Plumby's agreement led to France assistance in the War of 1859, as we discussed in our previous class. France has signed a agreement with Piedmont. That agreement was known as the Plumby's Agreement, and under this agreement, France has promised to help in war against the Austria, and in return, France received Nice and Savoy. So, during the war, France has supported. However, as Italian unification progressed, French interest conflicted with it. France continued to protect the Pope in Rome with French troops to maintain Catholic power at home. So, obviously, France has supported in the unification the process in the Italian unification, but when it comes to its own interest, the France started conflicted with it, because France want to maintain the Catholic sport at home. So when France was defeated by Persia in 1870, these troops were withdrawn, allowing Italy to take Rome and make it capital to the new kingdom. But at last, France has to surrender, and after surrender, the Roman state was become the capital of the new kingdom of Italy in 1870. Okay, thus, while France initially gained influence, Italian unification ultimately reduced French power in Europe, especially after the Franco Prussian War in 1870 to 71. So, that was the role of France in the unification of Italy. Is it clear, Amar?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, next, can you please tell me about which two countries we have studied yet?
Ma'am, we studied about France and
Okay.
Australia.
Very good. So we have studied about the role of these two major countries in the unification of Italy. Next, we will study about the role of Persia, a beneficiary. So Persia greatly benefited from the Italian unification. Like the Persia was the state who got most benefit from that unification process. In 1866, Persia formed an alliance with Italy against Austria. As I told you in my previous class, alliance is a type of agreement in which like two groups make a agreement that they will support each other. So the Persia will make a form the alliance with Italy, which helped both countries become a common enemy. Like both the countries were against the influence of Italy, so they make a alliance and they fight against Austria. After Austria defeat, Italy gained Venetia and Persia strengthened its dominance in Germany. So the Italian movement also inspired German nationalists, as both unifications were led by skilled statesmen Cavour in Italy and Bismarck in Germany, using diplomacy and limited war. So at that time, the both the states have the common goal. They both want.
Break इसका.
Yes. Yes, Amar, do you have a question?
No, ma'am.
You may ask if you have any query.
Okay, ma'am. But now I don't have.
Okay, beta. So, as we discussed in our previous class, there were different leaders who were involved in the unification of Italy. In Italy, it was a Cavour who believed in diplomacy, and in Germany, it was Bismarck. He was also a politician, and he was also in the sport of diplomacy. And the both of them don't want war. They want limited war. So Italian unification therefore helped shift the European balance of power from Austria to Prussia, preparing the way for Germany unification in 1871. So during the unification of Italy, we can say that it has opened a door, it has opened a way for the unification of Germany that was achieved later. Okay, so till now we have studied about the three countries: the Persia, the Austria, and the third one was Imar, France. Okay, so the next state was Britain. British countries, Britain, including the British countries, they were supporting the unification of Italy. They were in the sport of the unification, but they were playing the neutral. Like they were not directly supporting any country. When we say they were neutral, it means that they were not directly supporting any country. They were not either supporting Austria or not they were directly supporting Italy. So as a neutral, Britain did not take part in any wars of unification, like they didn't involve directly, but it supported Italian unity diplomatically. British leaders like Palmerston and Gladstone admired the Italian nationalists for their struggle against Austrian rule. Britain wanted to see a strong independent Italy. They could maintain stability in southern Europe and limit French and Austrian influence. Although Britain's role was indirect, like as I told you, they were not directly supporting their agenda. They were indirectly supporting it, like they were indirectly in support of their unification, in support of their diplomacy, in support of their freedom. Uh, its moral and political support gave
Ma'am,
legit.
everyone left the class.
But still, you are there, beta. It's okay. You can attend the
Okay, ma'am.
class. It's okay. So I was teaching UK. Britain was not directly support of the Italian unification, but they were indirectly supporting the unification because they were also in support of their freedom. Britain saw Italian unification as part of a broader European movement toward liberalism and self domination. So determination. So as I told you, they were indirectly supporting their liberalism and self determination. That was a great sport at that time. Welcome, Salim. Why you had left the class, beta? Salim, beta, are you there? Are you listening me, beta? I think his mic is not working. Amar, this topic is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so can you please tell me how Britain was supporting the unification of Italy? How the British countries were in support of that unification? Can you please tell me?
Ma'am, they were like they did they support Italy like it is their own country.
Did they participate in the war or not?
Yes, they did.
No, beta, they did not. They were indirectly, I told you, they were indirectly supporting the war. They were,
Yeah, sorry, indirectly.
yes, it means that they were in support of their freedom, but they were not participating in the war. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good boy. So I will conclude all this topic. As I told you previously, that the participation of these countries, they destroyed Austria dominance, they reduced the France power, and they also helped Persia rise and satisfied Britain's goal for a balanced Europe. So due to that unification, we got a balanced Europe by 1871. The creation of a united Italy alongside to soon to be unified Germany had completely changed the European balance of power established in 1815. Obviously, due to that unification, the power was balanced. Before that unification, the power was only belonged to monarchs, the kings. But due to that unification, the power was balanced. Some power was also gained by the common people. So we can say that due to that unification, balance of power was achieved. The process marked the decline of old empires and the emergence of the new nation states, setting the stage for future rivalries and alliances in Europe. So, it was a great success. Okay, is it clear, beta? That topic is clear, so we can start.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, Salim, is it clear, beta? Are you there? Salim, beta, are you listening me? Your mic is working. Salim.
Miss Salim has some internet problem. Might be just because of that he is not able to reply you.
Okay. So next we will study about Victor Emmanuel II and the Cavour, the agreement of Plomby's war with Austria in 1859. Amar, as we have discussed previously, France has signed a agreement with the signed an agreement with the Cavour. So we will study about
Yes.
it now. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
We have already discussed it in our previous topic. Italy remained divided into many states. We know that states there was Lombardy, Venetia, and in other northern states. But the Piedmont Sardinia, under the King Victor Emmanuel II and his Prime Minister Count Cavour, became the leading state for unification. So, during that, Victor Emmanuel II was the was the king of that state, and the prime minister was Count Cavour. At that time, Cavour wanted to expel Austria from northern Italy and unite the Italian state under his leadership. But he knew Piedmont could not defeat Austria alone. So Cavour was a diplomat, and he knows that he can't defeat the Austria alone. So that's why he started. He got the help from the France. So to get the help, he signed an agreement, and that agreement was Plomby's agreement, and that agreement was signed in 1858. Is it clear, Amar? Amar, beta, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
My voice is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's discuss about this agreement. Which points were included in that agreement? Cavour secretly met the Napoleon III, and he signed an agreement. This agreement has major 3 points. What was those points? The first point was France would help Piedmont fight Austria if Austria attacked Piedmont. Like the France was has to support Piedmont in the fight against Austria. After victory, France would gain Savoy and Nice as a reward. Like, it was a reward for the France, that if they won in the war, they will got Savoy and Nice, and these are the two states of the Italy. So Piedmont would expand into Lombardy, Venetia, and central Italian state. So, that was another point of that agreement. The agreement showed Cavour's diplomatic skills. So, as you have studied the points of the agreement, it's clear that Cavour was a great diplomat, and by using a foreign alliance to challenge Austria while keeping the support of the France. So that was a proof of the Cavour's diplomatic skill. So after signing that agreement, soon the war was started in 1859. Austria, aware of Piedmont's growing strength, and declared war in 1859. So Austria has started a war in 1859, and during that war, France quickly honored the agreement, joining Piedmont in the Second Italian War of Independence. So obviously, Second War of Italian Independence was started in 1859, and during that war, France was supporting the Piedmont due to that agreement. So the key battles that were fought for the unification of Italy: first battle was Battle of Magnenta, that was fought in June 1859, and it was French Piedmontese victory. Like France and Piedmontines were won during that war, and the Austria lost that war. The second battle was Battle of Solferino, and during that battle as well, there was a decisive victory, forcing Austria to retreat. Like during that battle as well, Austria has lost the power, and they was defeated during that war. Like in both of these wars, Austria was defeated. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Which wars were fought during the unification? Can you please tell me, Amar?
Ma'am, Pigment and Australia.
Pigment and yes, it was fought between Pigment and Austria. But what was the name of that key battles? I had just discussed.
Ma'am, it was named Battle of Megaman Magenta.
Yes.
Magenta. In June 1859,
Okay.
and Battle of Soliferon.
So
June
Solferino.
18. Solferino. June 1859.
Okay, so during that wars, so we can say that during that wars, the Austria has lost its power. So Austria was forced to cede Lombardy to Piedmont. Obviously, Austria has lost the its control, so Austria has to give Lombardy to Piedmont. France received Nice in reward. France has received Nice and Savoy, central Italian states. Like these major states held referendums and joined Piedmont. So they held some referendums, they held some votings, and they joined Piedmont as well. So, what was the role of Victor Emmanuel II? We have discussed in our previous class that uh, he provided legitimacy and support to Cavour diplomatic strategies. Uh, he allowed Cavour to let Piedmont into alliance with France, and he proved the annexation of the Lombardy and other Italian states after the war. His leadership gave unification a monarchist framework, ensuring the movement stayed orderly. So, what was the significance? What was the significance of all that process? It turns the goal into the reality, and that reality was Italian unification. Lost Lombardy, weakening its influence in Italy. It demonstrated that diplomacy and strategic alliances were as important as military action. Obviously, in 1848, people lost because they were not military strong. But during that unification, it was proved that we don't need only diplomacy and strategies, we also need a strong army support. Okay, so this set the stage for Garibaldi's campaign in the south and eventual unification under Victor Emmanuel II in 1861. So that was the significance of all that unification process. Is it clear, Amar?
Yes, ma'am.
Go. Okay. So what so how the and you know that till now unification of Italy has started, and there were some states that come under the Italian united Italian, but Sicily and Naples were not still under the Italian state. So here Garibaldi participated in the unification of Italy in 1860. He led the famous expedition of Thousand, and during that expedition he fought against the conservative rule. At this time Sicily and Naples was part of the kingdom of two Sicilies ruled by King Francis II. Like that, states were under that King Francis II, who opposed reform and nationalist. Garibaldi, a committed nationalist and Republican influenced by the Mazzini's ideas, decided to act without the official approval of Cavour or Victor Emmanuel II. Like till that time, Victor Emmanuel II and the Cavour did not provide support to Garibaldi, and he didn't wait for his support. He didn't wait for their approval. He started his expedition. Although the Piedmontese government was cautious and feared Garibaldi's radicalism, it secretly allowed him to go ahead because his actions could help unify Italy under Piedmontese leadership. Like the leaders at that time who were in support of the Italian unification, they were against the radicalism, the idea, the agenda of the fairness of the Garibaldi, but still they allowed him. So after the approval, he started the expedition of the Thousand. It was the name of his journey. So, during his journey, over 1,000 volunteer soldiers that were known as Red Shirt has participated in the war. He landed in the Marsala, Sicily, where he gained support from the local peasants who were unhappy with high taxes and harsh landlords. So, obviously, people were suffering at that specific period of time, and due to that suffering Garibaldi got the support from them, and the Garibaldi forces defeated the royal army at the Battle of Calatfimi and captured Palermo, the capital of Sicily. Within weeks, all of Sicily was under the Garibaldi's control. So in 1860, Garibaldi got control on Sicily. Okay, so after getting the control on Sicily state, the Garibaldi moved towards the Naples state. Garibaldi crossed to the Italian mainland and advanced northward towards Naples. The Bourbon forces collapsed quickly, and Garibaldi enters Naples in 1860s to create popular celebration. He ruled southern Italy temporarily as dictator of Naples in the name of Victor Emmanuel II, showing that his aim was national unity rather than personal power. So, what happens after the invasion of Naples and Sicily? The Garibaldi give the power to Victor Emmanuel II, and it was a great selfless act. Okay, so Cavour was feared that Garibaldi might march on Rome and cause conflict with Pope and France. So, as I told you, Garibaldi didn't listen to anyone. So, Cavour has a fear that he can he can have a conflict with Pope and France, and obviously you know that Cavour has made a good friendship with France. So he sent Piedmontese troops southward. The two armies met near Tiano in October 1860, where Garibaldi greeted Victor Emmanuel II as a king of Italy. So due to that fear, Cavour sent the troops, but at Tiano points in 1860, both of the armies were met with each other. Garibaldi then handed over all his conquests, Sicily and Naples, to the king, refusing any reward or little. This campaign united southern part of the Italy with the north, making a huge step towards the Italian unification. And uh, by this time, Kingdom Victor Emmanuel to become the king of the United Italy. Is it clear now? These roles are clear.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. It's
ma'am.
clear.
Okay, so this topic is about to end. How unification was Italy was achieved that we started in our previous classes. We will conclude that topic like as I told you in 1870. the unification, and it's a very important question that is repeatedly coming in the past papers. How the Italian unification was achieved, and how these people, these leaders were involved in the unification. So uh, in 1860, we have studied all this point in our previous topics. Okay, so in 1861, the Victor Emmanuel II became the first king. In 1861 March, the first the first Italian parliament met in Turin, which became the new capital. So, as you know, that new unified Italy was formed. King Victor Emmanuel II was the king, and the new capital city was Turin. However, the unification was still incomplete. Why it was incomplete? Because Venetia was still controlled by Austria. Like, still it was not under the United Italy. And Rome is still remain under the Pope and protected by the French troops. Like, France was not giving power on the Rome due to because it was a Catholic power. So at that time, it was important to get the control over Venetia and Rome. So here we will study how they got the control. In 1866, Italy allied with Persia in the Austro-Persian War. Like, there was a war, Austro-Persian War. Italy supported Persia. In return for Italian support, Persia promised to help Italy gain Venetia from the Austria. Although Italy's army was defeated at Custoza and its navy at Lissa, Prussia victory over Austria meant Austria had to cede Venetia. So, as I told you, there was a war that was happening between Persia and Austria. Italian leaders got the benefit from it. They supported the Persia in that war, and when the Persia got victory in the war in the favor, Persia has to give power to Italy. So, due to that, Venetia was then handed over to Italy, and there was a major step towards full unification. Salim and Amar, are you there, beta?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
So, can you please tell me it's clear, or do you have any question?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
You got that? How Venetia was come under the Italian state?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good boys. We are about to conclude our topic. As I told you, Venetia was not under the control of the Italy. Now, after that war, it was under the control of Italy. Now, how they captured the Rome, how they got the power on the Rome. As I told you, Rome was not under the control of Italy because it was a Catholic power and France was supporting it. It was under the papal control, supported by French troops, and that French troops were sent by Napoleon III. The Italian government wanted Rome to be its capital, like they wanted Rome its to be capital, but it was not under their control. But as well, they don't want to have a fight with France. In 1870, when France withdrew its troops to fight in the Franco-Prussian War, Italy seized the opportunity. Italian troops entered Rome in September 1870 without much resistance. Okay, so again, the Italy got the benefit, and they entered their troops into it, and Rome was annexed to Italy after a plebiscite, and a voting system was happened there, and the Roman and the Rome has lost that voting system, and due to that, lost, Italy got the control over the Rome, and after getting control, Rome became the capital of the Kingdom of Italy. Is it clear? Students, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
ma'am.
clear.
So let's conclude that topic. What was the significance of all that process? As I told you, we are about to conclude our second major topic of your global history paper. Italy became a single kingdom under Victor Emmanuel with Rome as its capital, like we have today. We have a united Italy today. And who was the first king of or president of the United Italy? It was Victor Emmanuel II. The unification was achieved through the combined efforts of clever diplomacy. Like as I told you, it was not the result of a single person effort. It was the result of clever diplomacy, Garibaldi's military campaigns, and the support of foreign powers like France and Persia. So, due to these three major things, we got a united Italy. However, despite political unity, Italy remained socially and economically divided between the industrialized north and the poor south. We can say that beta unification was achieved till that time, but still all the states were under a single united Italy, but still there was some deviance among the people. Like still there were some upper class people, and still there were some social class people until, and we can say that beta till that date we have that deviance in our societies. Do you agree with me, boys? Amar and Salim, do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
Like still if we talk about Pakistan, or still we have deviance among the communities. Like still we have some elite class, we have some poor class, we have some middle class, and we treat people accordingly. We treat people according to their class. So still that deviance are present in the world. Unless we have got the great power, we are very powerful now, we have got the power, atomic power. We all are powerful countries to our own perspectives, and we all are united. But still we have some deviance. Poor class are getting different treatment, and the upper class are getting different treatment. So these differences are still present in today's world. Okay, is it clear, beta? Salim, Amar?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay, Faz has just joined the class. Topic is clear. So, if you have any question, you can ask me, beta.
No, ma'am, no question.
Can I ask?
Sure, ma'am.
So, uh, as I told you, the topic is finished. We will start a new topic tomorrow. So, please tell me the major leaders who participated in the. Uh, Tell me the names of the major leaders who were involved in the unification of Italy. Can you please tell me the names of those leaders?
What, ma'am, can you ask?
I am asking, beta, there were different leaders, there were different persons who were involved in the unification of Italy. I am asking, can you please tell me the names of that people who were involved?
Yeah, ma'am. One was uh, Victor,
Very
Victor
good.
Emelian.
Good.
The other one was Kever.
Very good.
Third one was, it was like a military army for Garibaldi's.
Yes, it was a military sport of Garibaldi's, and we studied that Victor Emmanuel II was become the first president of the United Italy. And what position Kever got? Kever become the first prime minister of the United Italy. Kever become the first prime
Mm,
minister
Prime Minister.
of the United Italy. Okay. So another question. Faiz, are you listening us?
What, ma'am?
Oh, I'm asking from Faiz. Faiz, are you there, beta? I think he has internet issues. So, can you please tell me, Austria was benefited from that unification, or Austria has lost its power during that unification process?
Ma'am, Austria has lost the power from this unification.
Yes, because before the unification, Austria was ruling throughout the Europe. We can say that Austria was a world power at that time. Which world power today we have? Which country is more powerful today's in today's time? Do you know that?
Yes, ma'am, it's Austria.
In today's world, in 2025, which country is most powerful?
Russia, ma'am?
No. You don't think so that it's
No, ma'am, I don't
America?
know.
You don't think so that it's America is a world power right now?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
America is a world power right now, but at that time, that world power was Austria. But due to the unification of Italy, Austria has lost its power. Okay. Okay, so can you please tell me Garibaldi has conquered which two states? He got the
What, ma'am?
we discussed that Garibaldi started a campaign and he conquered two countries, two states, and later he handed over that states to Victor Emmanuel. To what was that two state? What was the name of that two countries? Yes, what was the name of that two countries?
Wait, ma'am, let me think.
You can see from my notes. I am sharing my notes on daily basis in the groups. You should download that notes and read on daily basis.
Ma'am, was it one was France?
No, France was
It
a
wasn't?
supporter. No, beta. France was a supporter. There was two states that he conquered. One was Sicily and one was Sicily and the other was Naples.
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 One was Sicily and the other was Naples.
Okay, ma'am.
And please, tomorrow we have a class, and please make sure that you have to revise all the 2 days lecture. In the start of our class, I will ask questions. I will ask some quiz questions related to how was Italy unified. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
so you have to revise 2 days lecture. It's not a difficult one. I had made very easy notes for you. It's written in very easy wording. It's not just like a very difficult wording. It's very easy. I have made very easy notes for you. So you can read that notes and you can learn that notes on daily basis because you can't participate in the exams if you will not focused. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
We have a
Okay,
huge
ma'am.
syllabus and you have to revise and learn every topic on the daily basis. Okay? Faiza, are you listening us, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Why you have joined late?
Ma'am, I don't know.
Okay. So today's topic is clear. Any question you may ask? Still you have still you have option. You can ask any
No,
question.
ma'am, I have
You
no
can have
questions.
any question related to how was Italy unified, because in tomorrow class in first 10 minutes I will conduct a quiz section, and everyone has to join the class on time and have to give that quiz. Okay, clear?
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Clear.
Good. Okay, so that was all about today's lecture. Inshallah we will talk again tomorrow. You can leave now.
Allah Hafiz, ma'am. Have a
Allah
nice
Haf-
day.
have a nice day. Allah Hafiz, beta.
Please stop the recording, miss.
Yes, miss.